we see a local fisherman named Matthew. He's fishing in a secluded part of the lake while sipping a beer. He catches a fish and reels it in but accidentally drops the beer into the water. Suddenly, an earthquake strikes the area, and we see the bottle sinking to the bottom of the lake, entering a massive crater that opens up due to the earthquake. However, Matthew is well above the epicenter. The earthquake splits the lakebed beneath him in two, creating a whirlpool that slowly sucks in his boat and releasing thousands of prehistoric species of predatory fish back to the Earth's surface. Matthew eventually falls out of his boat, and the swarm of hungry piranhas tastes human flesh for the first time, leaving only his gnawed and shredded corpse. Sometime later, it's spring break, and the town's population explodes as college students come to celebrate the holiday. Jake Forrester is riding his scooter on his way to pick up his younger sister, Laura, when he encounters his mother, Sheriff Julie Forrester. Julie is dealing with rowdy partygoers and even arrests one after receiving inappropriate comments to show that she's not someone to be messed with. Jake arrives and gets into the spring break spirit when his crush, Kelly, catches his attention. They chat until Todd and his friend arrive to pick up Kelly. Todd is the reason Jake couldn't make a move on Kelly because they are dating. Todd has access to a backstage party for a concert, and Kelly invites Jake to come, but he is currently babysitting Laura and his younger brother, Zane. Todd's friend taunts Jake and throws a slushie at him as they leave, ruining Jake's mood. Jake goes to find Laura talking to Danni, a sultry actress who he initially thought was insulting him about his wet shirt but turns out to be quite friendly. Danni's director, Derrick Jones, arrives, and when he finds out Jake is a local, he convinces him to be their location scout for shooting adult content the next day. Laura is about to spill the beans about Jake's babysitting duties, but Jake covers her mouth before she can. That night, Jake checks Derrick's adult website when Julie interrupts him to remind him about his babysitting job the next day. That same night, Julie is called to an old dock by Deputy Fallon for a missing person report, Matthew. While searching for clues, Julie learns that the USGS has discovered seismic activity under the lake, and she is asked to escort a team of seismologist divers to check the epicenter. Later, they find Matthew's empty boat among the reeds. Julie tries to approach it, but she falls into the lake. As she gets up, Matthew's brutally mutilated body floats up, frightening her. Julie offers to close the lake until they figure out what caused this, but Fallon says it's impossible as it's a big financial week for the town due to the 20,000 people partying. The next morning, a guy going cliff diving alone becomes food for the piranhas. Instead of fulfilling his babysitting duties, Jake decides to go with Derrick's crew and bribes his siblings not to leave the house under any circumstances. The seismology team arrives. Team leader Novak and divers Paula and Sam load their equipment onto Julie's patrol boat. Novak shows Julie the epicenter coordinates, and they head out. Jake arrives at the dock where he sees Derrick and his actresses, Danni and Crystal, seductively dancing on his boat, the Barracuda, while his cameraman Andrew records. They are the center of the ongoing party. Jake goes to the boat but bumps into Kelly. Derrick calls Jake, who initially ignores him, not wanting him to meet Kelly. Still, Derrick approaches and sees how pretty Kelly is, so he invites her aboard. Jake is irritated that Derrick could use Kelly for his movies. Todd and his friend call for Kelly to come aboard Derrick's boat, but Kelly dismisses them because they lied to her about having access to a concert. They get even more annoyed when they see Jake, who smiles at them tauntingly. Meanwhile, Zane and Laura break the deal with their brother as they row to a small island in a canoe, wanting to go fishing. Zane and Laura reach the island but forget to tie their canoe, and it drifts away, stranding them there. Realizing their mistake, they worry about their older brother's reaction. Laura tries to greet passing boats several times, but without success. In one attempt, she takes off her flip-flops and steps into the shallow part of the lake while a piranha is swimming nearby. She steps on a broken bottle and starts bleeding. The piranha smells the blood and quickly swims towards her. Fortunately, she gets out of the water, unaware that she could have lost her foot if she had stayed longer. Julie and Novak's team arrives at the earthquake's epicenter. Through their digital mapping device, Novak shows Julie the location where the earthquake opened a connecting passage to an apparently underground lake. Paula and Sam dive to explore the abyss, communicating their status to Novak through the radio. Because the connecting passage is a one-person hole, Sam decides he should go first while Paula stays at the entrance to maintain radio contact. Novak guides them using the mapping device, which also acts as a radar showing their location. Sam descends and discovers that the passage leads to a massive underwater lake that resembles a sunken cavern. He sees what appears to be tall plants, but they are actually piranha egg stalks, and thousands of them cover the cavern. He takes off his glove to touch it but gets bitten by something fast and starts bleeding in the water. He reports to Paula while lighting a flare. To his horror, hundreds of hungry piranhas surround him and charge for a meal. Paula calls for Sam, but she can only hear his screams as he is devoured. Novak immediately puts on his suit and dives to help. Paula swims to check on Sam, but this mistake leads to her being his next meal. She tries to swim for her life but only reaches the entrance of the passage, where Novak grabs her and swims back. Julie hoists them up, but only Novak makes it back safely, while Paula's body is barely recognizable with a live piranha beside her. Unaware of the horrors, Derrick's team on the Barracuda continues to enjoy taking pictures with Crystal. Meanwhile, Novak and Julie take the piranha to Carl Goodman, a retired marine biologist who now owns a fish pet store with his wife. They pour the fish into a tank, and Goodman immediately recognizes it and compares it to a fossil he has. Goodman identifies this particular species of piranha as Picocentrus natareri, which went extinct over 2 million years ago. These carnivores managed to survive below the surface without a food source for a long time due to cannibalism, as evidenced by the piranha's scars. They hunt in packs in an organized and methodical manner. One bite draws blood, and the blood draws the pack. Back on the Barracuda, Jake is filming a girl parasailing topless for Derrick's content when he sees his siblings on an island waving for help. Derrick, who is busy getting high, gets angry when Jake stops filming. Jake forces Derrick to rescue his siblings. Derrick refuses at first as he's more focused on filming more content but complies at Jake's request when he finds out Jake's mother is the sheriff. Although they don't see it, the parasailing girl has her lower half eaten by piranhas. As the spring break party continues back on the beach, Julie, Novak, Fallon, and Deputy Taylor Roberts frantically urge everyone to get out of the water because of what's coming. Roberts gets their attention by firing warning shots, but instead of following the officer's orders, everyone resumes the party and starts jumping into the lake. Meanwhile, Jake gets his siblings off the island and reprimands them. Derrick, who is now drunk and high, insists on heading to the next location. Jake brings his siblings inside along with Kelly, who is still somewhat drunk. Zane and Laura see the fish swimming below them through the boat's glass bottom, unaware that they are predatory creatures. The boat suddenly stops because some lake plants tangled with the propellers. After blaming Jake for everything that has happened, Derrick takes charge, pushing Andrew out of the way. A wave of panic replaces the party spirit as piranhas pick a girl relaxing on a float as their first victim. Everyone swims for their lives looking for higher ground as piranha swarms join the party. Julie and Novak help people on their patrol boat. Most of them evacuate to the floating stage, but it becomes overcrowded and capsizes, putting people back on the piranha's menu. Novak jumps off the patrol boat and rides a jet ski with a shotgun, rescuing as many as he can. Julie shoots her taser into the water, electrocuting some piranhas and causing one to explode. Todd boards a speedboat and runs over some injured people trying to swim for their lives. The speedboat stops when a girl's hair gets tangled in its propellers. The girl's scalp is ripped off as he continues to force the motor. However, his boat capsizes as many of the people around him try to board, and they are all eaten alive. Derrick forces the Barracuda to start but hits some rocks, breaking the boat's glass bottom. Water floods the room where Laura, Zane, and Kelly are. Fortunately, the children manage to get out safely. Due to the impact, Derrick, Crystal, and Andrew fall into the water. A swarm of piranhas engulfs them, killing Crystal and Andrew while Derrick struggles to save himself with Danni's help. Danni manages to haul a partially eaten Derrick out, fending off the piranhas that came with him. He appears to die, and Danni covers him with a towel. Kelly is still trapped below deck where aggressive piranhas are swimming. Jake communicates with her through the skylight as they figure out an escape. On the beach, everyone struggles to get out of the water. Two men carrying a wounded girl accidentally pull her, splitting her in two. Fallon makes his last stand to protect the people running toward the beach by shooting piranhas with his shotgun. Out of bullets, he removes a rotor from a speedboat and uses its propellers as a chainsaw, which only works for a short time as more piranhas finally devour him. Julie tends to the injured when she receives a call from Jake, who feels guilty about the situation with his siblings. This worries Julie, but fear and panic wash over her as she finds out her boat is sinking. Julie boards the nearest speedboat, jumping over hooded boats and floats. Novak leaves his jet ski to help Julie. Jake, Danni, and the kids start to get hopeful when they see Julie and Novak. Because their boat is stuck on the rocks, it's impossible for the speedboat to approach. Novak grabs a rope, and Julie throws one end to Jake, who ties it to the deck, while Julie ties the other end to the speedboat. Julie crosses the rope toward the Barracuda while Novak keeps the speedboat's engine running, heaving the rope, so it remains suspended over the water. The family reunites, but Julie discovers that Kelly is still trapped in the cabin. The skylight is too small for Kelly, who is now overcome with fear. Julie decides to let everyone cross the rope to the speedboat first and go back for Kelly, but Jake insists on staying with Kelly until he figures out a way to save her. He blames himself for letting Kelly come with them, and now she's in danger. Julie reluctantly agrees and crosses back to the speedboat with her kids, following Danni. Several piranhas are jumping out of the water, desperate to take a bite. Due to the weight of 4 people, the rope lowers toward the water until piranhas reach and latch onto Danni's hair, eventually dragging her down to her death. Zane and Laura make it to the boat safely just before the bar where the rope is tied to the deck comes loose, submerging Julie into the water. Fortunately, the loose bar gets caught on another grate. Novak steps on the gas, heaving the rope and suspending Julie over the water as she climbs to safety. Below deck, piranhas threaten Kelly as she kills them with a frying pan. Jake removes the rope from the deck and ties it to himself, attaching it to the speedboat. He takes Derrick's bloody body, which surprisingly is still alive but dies seconds later. Jake throws the bloody Derrick into the water to attract the piranhas. This gives Jake enough time to reach Kelly, who is relieved to be rescued. Jake asks her to tie 2 flares together while he releases gas from some stored propane tanks. He calls Novak to start pulling them out 10 seconds after giving the signal. Jake pulls Kelly close to him, and after kissing and counting to 3, they dive to get out of there. After 10 seconds, Novak struggles desperately to start the engine. Jake ignites the flare and throws it onto the boat. Piranhas quickly close in on the couple. Jake sees them and protects Kelly by wrapping his arms around her. Finally, Novak starts the engine and steps on the accelerator, dragging the couple away from the piranhas and the boat. Simultaneously, the flare floats to the surface, and with the help of the open gas tanks, the air explodes and the boat blows up, killing all nearby piranhas. They come to a safe distance, quickly hoisting the couple out of the lake. After catching their breath, Goodman radios Julie to tell her the bad news. He studied the specimen they brought him. The piranhas they were fighting have no mature reproductive organ, which means they are young. Novak asks where the parents are, and an adult piranha, the size of a shark, leaps from the water and devours him.